Do you have a yellow handkerchief or anything like that?
I don't.
We should start carrying flags around, I think.
Start throwing them around the office?
Yeah, maybe we can get used to what's going on. You know, of the many things that went on with the Seahawks over the weekend that we didn't like, and you know, it wasn't they had like 14 or 15 of them this weekend. It just maybe it felt that way because they were so key, but
they were really, really hurt.
They are. It's part of what's fun about them, but we were sort of talking about it today. It's getting to be a little too much. The Seahawks, little undisciplined at times, just a little bit. And part of it is them trying to be aggressive and whatnot. And Breno Giacomini, who we talked about in particular on the show, took a personal foul penalty, and it was Russell Wilson had just completed a pass. He had a couple in the game. The first one he took, he was 6 for 6 at that point, and never did get it back together. Now that's not an excuse. It's just a fact. It's just what wound up happening in that game. But too often we have seen penalties, sometimes of the minor variety, sometimes big ones, derail this team.
Yeah, and we talked about it Friday when Dave Wyman was here, and we talked about it in particular about Brandon Browner, who had just been fined, and basically
for the hit on Jennings.
On Jennings, right, $7,800, and talked about, all right, is there, you're kind of straddling the line between being a tough guy and sending a message of intimidation and taking cheap shots and costing your team. And the reaction to that video, if you look at the comments, are no way, we like it, and it sends a message, and we'll take those fines. Well. And my point was, it's going to cost you a game. It's going to cost you, and you saw it. And we can sit here and cry and whine about the officials, and that wasn't a penalty, and this was. You better figure out how they're calling a game and how to function within the way they're calling it. I love the intimidation. I love the physicality. Nobody's saying turn into a finesse team and go light on these guys. But you've got to be smart. And even Breno said it, and even Pete Carroll said it. You got to be smart. And Pete Carroll's quote was, "Yeah, he's trying to be a tough guy, and that stuff's got to stop." And basically implied he's going to get benched if that kind of stuff doesn't stop.
Or fined or something. Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't just apply to Breno. That's the attitude of the whole team, which we all embrace and love. Figure out the difference between smart and then you cross the line, you're just being stupid. Right. And it cost you in this game. And that was the point of the video on Friday was, we love it and embrace it. It's great to have the attitude and everybody's just, intimidated or whatever. But there's going to be that time where it costs you. That physicality is going to cost you, and it cost them against the Rams.
Well, the problem is you do not have an offense right now that can produce a lot of points. I mean, that's obvious to everyone. So anytime you're taking a penalty, it's going to mess up a drive or something. I've heard the Raiders comparison mentioned. You brought it up. And I said, sure, in the Raiders' heyday, they also had Ken Stabler and Fred Biletnikoff and an offense that could score a lot of points. Didn't matter if they took penalties.
And the games were not being called the way they are now with all the concussions.
Also true. I mean, the Seahawks are at a point now where they need to limit possessions for the other team. They're not scoring a lot of points. They're winning with defense. And that's why you got to not turn the ball over and not make mistakes. And look, they had a few turnovers this week, which is something they really haven't had. But something they've kind of had all along that I think we both think they need to get squared away is dumb penalties, Brand. So cut it out. Like now.